no matter what he's playing on, I think, at the end of the day, as we get our little blow-by of what split is going to look like. Again, as far as the statistics are concerned, if you really are favoring the more mathematical side of this for Sentinels, they are 3-1 through their run last week playing on split. They only did not play this in the round of 128, and that loss was to Gen G again, where shows how seriously they were taking things. But even with that, caveat at the end of their run last week, 76% win rate defensively as they played on this map. And that will obviously be a consideration at some point in time. But for now, it's all about what can they do on the offense as they get things going here.
The big thing for me so far is that ShahZam is going to be staying onto the Reyna. It's actually Oderus on the Raze. They're going to be giving up the Jett. deph's on the Killjoy, so we're wondering if that was going to be Cypher. Nope, not the case so far. Dignitas is going to be bringing Sick back onto the stage as expected.
ShahZam is locked into the top side of the tower. Has dealt with the alarm bot. There's only a nanostorm there, and that's going to be pulled out. Sidestepping away from the turret, that's going to be Sick, who takes care of that, and all of a sudden, Sentinels are going to have to quickly rotate through. Here's the fortified wall play, and a headshot comes through for Sick, so even though he falls, the trades are decent, 2 for 2. Spike carrier, though, dropping. ShahZam going to commit to get into the low ground. That's going to forfeit over some pretty key positions on this potential retake, because Sentinels, they do have Salt playing from the back, and oh boy, ShahZam, we'll pretend like we didn't just watch that. As he gets taken down, Psalm will convert to a third, and a quick defusal will come through as Dig will be able to find a way to get things going quickly here defensively.
Yeah, really good start for Dig here, especially for ShahZam, who's now 4 out of 6 on towards the Emperor as well. Triple kill to get the ball rolling early. We did see Sentinels, get multi-tags across Super and ShahZam. I reiterate myself on that is in terms of where some of the early pressure came from, so they get to rely on that against Sentinels. Rather, Dignitas get to kind of play into the very minor defensive advantages for a map like Split. And for Dig now, this is where ShahZam can really start to get the snowball momentum going a little bit further. 5 SMGs coming on through. If ShahZam gets another kill in an orb or a kill in a defuse, we'll be seeing a very early Empress soon.
Oh, for sure we will. But now Sentinels trying to make their second round come through again, not investing too much into upgrading weapons. A lot of ghosts that are still in the mix. Now, pardon me, as I'm getting a little confused off our names in the background, still backwards here. It's Dignitas that would have the ability to purchase up. My apologies. But once again, you've already got Sick, who's walked on the B tower. This is a very interesting playback for Dig, as they're just allowing Sentinels to take these high ground positions and then playing for retakes.
Smoked off over towards the stairs room as well. So Dig playing very far back, like you mentioned. They are going to be able to at least put a smoke over towards B main. This freaking time, though. This is the early 1v1, though. dapr gets the kill into Oderus, and that's going to be one SMG delivered over towards the side of Sentinels. deph's going to clean up. Multiple players trying to come up the ropes currently, but they're taking a lot of damage. Look at the HP bar for Sentinels.
Yeah, a little SEAL Team 6 play off the double ropes, but dephh does well to find a couple. Psalm's able to get another, and now you see the spike right in front of his feet. 3v2 situation in favor of Dig, and Supamen will find Sick to lurk behind. So now it's just down to one nice snapper there for Psalm, and Dignitas will clean things up defensively. And now go up very quickly 2-0. Beyond that, though, Psalm has earned a very early Empress. He so chooses to use it.
Yeah, 5-0 so far on the score there. Dig 2-0 up, like, as you expect, versus the anti-eco. Sentinels, though, did make it at least somewhat costly. Early kills coming in. You see Sick finding a little bit of value on towards the Sage. The heal coming in to heal zombs, but has been nerfed in recent patches, so the heal not quite as strong. It will be a few rebuys in terms of stingers coming out. Dignitas, Sentinels, full rifles. And now we're ready to potentially get one on the board for Sen.
Big, look at this. Different play already for Dig. 5-man stack through mid. Dark cover and a boomot. Will you anticipate all this energy coming through? The flashpoint will free up, but there's no kills behind this. Psalm is trying to play aggressive, but the paranoia is going to keep him locked to plays. dephh finds one kill, but the trades are good. A slow orb will mean that this Empress is going to go nowhere. Beautiful dismiss. The healing will come through. Psalm keeping the play alive. Vault line now also reaching over, and it's just down to Psalm for a 1v3. Stuck between literally 2 players. Here's one coming out of the side of sewers. And he might get an angle, but ShahZam locking things down will find the kill. You gotta admire the creativity, but Sentinels, they back away and they punish completely.
And Sam and Super need to try and isolate at least one kill there. You saw Sick trying to keep himself alive. I think the slow orb actually ends up doing massive, massive value. Sam barely even gets the first kill to refresh the Empress and just miss away, but still stuck in the corner of Ramen there. Does end up being that Dignitas can't quite find enough kills. I do like the early Empress usage there. Can't get a gun though. Sam doesn't pick up a rifle on the floor, gets trapped. Has one layer available, but doesn't find the opportunity to use it. Now Sentinel will bring him back.
Sinatraa, he's going to take an aggressive peek, find one, and just barely deal with the boombot in his face. Now the pinch shell's coming through. Sinatraa really feeling feisty. dephh will put him down, but a lot of damage was exchanged, and dapr would have loved to have that one back. That was a free kill for him, and he's going to allow dephh to stay alive, but very marginally. Only about one shot left for his health, but does have the ability to play passive and maybe try to drop a lockdown if he feels the need to.
This is the kind of thing that Dignitas need to adapt to. Sentinels are one of the fastest teams that we've seen in North America. Not going to waste a lot of time. They're going to get into action fairly quick. Sinatraa, early pick. The trade is decent. You see dephh is on critical HP as well. And for Dig, they need to try and find out where Sentinels are. They have no B heaven control. Wall's going to come up, and now the hit's going to come in. Sam has to be the one to do the damage.
Psalm finds one. Hit's still going to commit over towards B. Psalm is going to make sure no exits go through B main. The only place not currently being watched is up top at B tower. Lockdown is going to be committed for this. And this is all going to funnel players over to Psalm's direction, but he gets tagged up down to 6 HP. Double Deke about to come through, and he's not going to find any kills. The exit is good for Sentinels. The round's still very well in play for them, but this is the problem. The spike is going to be triggered, and Zombs has to go just to check. He finds one, and ShahZam able to help out. My goodness. Beautiful pinch coming through for Sentinels, but again, credit the fact that Psalm was taken down early on that attempt to exit away from the site to allow Sentinels a chance.
And that could have been different if Psalm gets another kill there, dismisses away and keeps things interesting in favor of Dignitas, slowing Sentinels down. That would have been a potential really big round for Dignitas to be able to pull through via the Reyna of Psalm, but doesn't have a layer available. Very critical HP, can't quite convert a kill over, loses control of B main, despite getting a very early kill over towards B lobby. Now Dignitas over towards a 5 upgraded pistols and what will be the eco. Let's see if they can do something with the sheriffs. We did see them win with sheriffs on Haven. They'll need to do so again.
Boombot just to clear things mid-map. Sinatraa with a couple of taps just to see if maybe he can find a lucky headshot. Nothing will happen. dephh is the player who is going to be sitting mid-map with what looks to be just the sheriff. It was a triple hit coming through Dignitas over towards A ramps just to see if they could maybe find a trade. But nothing will be there. So now all these members defensively will stack mid-map and see if they can help out dephh, who's about to be threatened. Supa also dropping, and now B's wide open, but dephh finds one kill. That's actually valuable. ShahZam cannot play. He has to try to guard this weapon and find the trade. And now that that job is done, he'll re-attention, focus over to B tower. Back will offer a trade, but it's still a 3v bomb down for Sentinels.
One player alive here, Sam. Doesn't have a gun upgrade. Slow orb's going to be super effective as well. At this rate, at least some more damage would be excellent for Sam, but we'll need to try and locate where the members are. Knows that one is close to ropes. The Sheriff Battle's going to betray him there as well, so Hutch will easily clean up the kill, find a nice gun upgrade in terms of the pistol, and that is going to be Sentinels 3 alive. They even have the reaction in their play as well. Nearly 5 ultimates. 1 round up so far in this best of 3.
Full gun round coming up here for Sentinels and Dignitas in round number 6. But the problem here for Dignitas is you've got a showstopper, you've got a neural theft, and a resurrection that can all be utilized this round. Would be great if they could find a way to get this Sage off the table quickly, but with Sick holding onto the spike, likely you'll just have the Sage playing passively behind all of this. Fault line will come through. That will slow things down just touch. The Boombot's still going to get through. The Aftershock is here, but it will split this offense in 2 pieces. Sinatraa immediately calling for the showstopper, completely blinded up. Looking for someone to throw this at. It might not have an opportunity, and he's going to get caught from behind. This is a brilliant first kill for dephh. The spike goes down. Wall will come up and be fortified to block the defensive side at spawn, but for Dignitas, you've at least got numbers to work with here.
And Sinatraa may have overcommitted there as well. Notice the body is very deep. That means there will be a resurrection. Sick can't quite get control of B heaven. Currently, a lot of players for Dignitas still alive, trying to take control of Elbow. Flash is going to come on through, and more kills online for Dignitas. There will be a trade, but dephh and Oderus will get down to a 4 versus 1. Critical HP for dephh, but even if it could do something, We need to try and survive, and he will get cleaned up too. So, despite Sentinels getting a very nice and early take on towards A, they get these sites very quickly. The Dignitas this time will have a nice retake.
Well, look, just go back to why that spike gets planted so aggressively in the first point. They were looking for Sinatraa to take control of the A tower. They were trusting that the showstopper was going to be enough to win a kill and then stay alive. There was no exit strategy there for Sentinels outside of the fact that they would have high ground control and they would be able to read where Dignitas's pinch or retake was going to come through. The fact they don't get that opportunity means that Dignitas can flood from the top, they can pinch around elbow and just straight in, and Sentinels just could not quite respond to it in time. 3-3 we go, and Dignitas, I won't say lucky to have that round, but they're obviously going to be feeling very good about being able to pull that back, considering that they dealt with the showstopper as well.
Yeah, and this is why I say maybe Sinatraa overcommits there. You could just not go into the showstopper and know it hurts. It's a total waste of an ultimate, but staying alive and keeping the chance of winning the round alive probably a little bit more important here. Sicker's going to put up the wall over towards B. It's going to be mostly a fake. And that's kind of the problem with playing Sage currently, is the very early wall. The HP is very low as well, so it instantly breaks. And then lose Sinatraa early, and dapr is going to follow as well.
We do commit a couple of members for Dignitas B on top of this B site. So even though it's a 3v4, you're going to take the from the shadows spike play directly to A. But this is not a safe plan yet. You need to get control of A tower first. That task is left to ShahZam, who's got a lot of traps to deal with. There's alarm bot, there's nano swarms, and now the retake for Dignitas defensively is going to be here. Zombs has to find at least one. He does well, but isn't able to get this second. Resurrection is going to come through safely over towards A ramps to make things a 3v3, but the spike is down.
Sentinels have to take control link currently, and that is where Oderus is coming from. They have him in control, they spam it on through. Oderus tagged up, but still alive for now. Sun, by the way, has a bit of an angle, will find that kill, and now this is where things get interesting. Dig also have another ultimate here to play with. Rolling Thunder is up 17 seconds, and Sentinels don't have players alive. ShahZam needs to bring it home. Must get the kill here.
10 seconds left.
To MAKKA to keep it alive. Has to do so instantly. MAKKA's trying to waste some time, and it's going to be able to waste enough time to make sure that Sentinels can't land.
MAKKA dancing with his partner there, which was that middle information kiosk window board thing. And he's able to essentially elude ShahZam for long enough to clean up 4 kills. So now Dignitas in a great spot. You're 4-3 up defensively. You still have a Rolling Thunder and a lockdown that you feel like ideally you would love to use in separate rounds just for potential retakes or hold-offs, but you would see possibilities of those being combined as well to really punish Sentinels if they get over aggressive and they stack.
Speaking of getting overly aggressive, maybe Sentinels want to go for a fast one again. Blazestorm out and ready. Sinatraa in. It's in deep too, but it's Sick going down first, and Sinatraa will follow. So 3 versus 5 now. Dignitas have slowed things down.
And I don't know, for my taste, this is just a bit over-ambitious for Sentinels. You're trying to catch some members of Dignitas off guard. As, to be fair, they have been playing very passive in previous defensive rounds, but the problem is they're still holding angles, and you give away 2 kills, one on either side of the map. It makes life difficult for the rest of your squad. So now you're on to ShahZam, really, that has to do all. 2v4, he's already found 1 kill with the Bladestorm. Has an opportunity to maybe try to play for a second, but holding this angle is Oderus, and it's going to come down to who sees who first, and what about that? ShahZam just goes a bit wider than Oderus was anticipating, so now a 2v3, this round is much more doable.
And they're working their way over towards B as well. That's exactly where Zombs is making his way up, and Sam is hanging out. Maybe some to sense that the rotation is coming on through. They would have called that ShahZam went over towards ropes. He is in vents over towards tower now. Has an angle potentially on towards Sam, but gets a kill. ShahZam needs to get this kill as well, but it'll be Sam for 3, shutting down Zombs, shutting down anything coming through from Sentinels, and I believe it was Sam that actually got the kill on Sick early on as well. So for Sentinels trying to recover from a 3v5 deficit, ShahZam is going to get a couple of kills, but not enough for Sentinels to get their round win.
Force Spy coming up right now for Sentinels here in round number 9. Spectre with full armor, a couple of Phantoms with just light armor. And the better news here for Dig is not only do you win that round, but you do it so convincingly you didn't have to spend a single ultimate. So now there's big advantage brewing for the rest of this half for Dig to try to take this half. Oh, you would love to see maybe 8-4, if not better. Slow Orb came through, and it nearly was able to punish 1. That was Oderus, who was playing a bit aggressive, but he's able to back away with only a small amount of damage.
The Sentinels have played this round much slower as well. They're not rushing through. They're taking a little bit more time. Not even dashing off the paranoia coming through from Zombs onto B Heaven either. For 3 players here for Dignitas. And again, a reminder of the ultimate there as well. Rolling Thunder available, lockdown, all great for the retake. But I think with Dignitas, they're not going to allow the take to even come through. Wall's going to come down. We know how brittle that wall is early on, and Dignitas are ready for any action on B.
Goes for out. Oderus will spend it. Not going to find much with this. Psalm is here with him, though. And as the wall will, again, come fortified, there's an opportunity maybe for Sentinels just to rush through this. But Oderus is already playing a tight corner. Psalm has joined him on the low ground in the site itself. And Supamen is now also here. So pretty heavy defensive stack, 35 seconds. And they deal with the lurker of dapr mid-map. That will likely be about the rest of this round, pending something miraculous from Sentinels. But with only 25 and a force buy, this is looking like it's got to be a save.
Yeah, Dignitas have really played this one quite nicely. They've trapped Sentinels rather completely. And that's not even considering the massive ult advantage here. 12 seconds remaining. It will be the save, like you said here. For Sentinels, a slow round that doesn't get them anywhere. And this is where they feel a bit more trapped in terms of the strategy part. They tried to go fast on a previous round. They get punished heavily. They lose 2 nearly instantly. Try to play this one a lot slower. And they just get grinded out by Dignitas to rotate appropriately to where they need to be. Dignitas are looking very strong now on the split defense, so if there's ever an opportunity for Dignitas to bring a map back, I mean, this is where things look great, but we've also been here on Haven, where it also looked really good for Dignitas. The Sentinels still came through 5 and 7, despite it looking very Dignitas favored. That's what Dignitas need to try and prevent this time around.
So it's going to be the 2 Phantoms that are held on to. A Stinger, a Ghost, and a Frenzy purchased behind it to try to give a little extra firepower for Sentinels. But this is a tough offensive round that's in front of them. Not just because of the weapon disadvantage, but again, there's still the Empress, the Lockdown, the Rolling Thunder that's available for Dig on the D. Aggressive utility being thrown out towards A ramps, nothing going to come of it. And once again, here's Sentinels in a familiar place as they've just walked down the B tower. And a Tailwind will be used trying to see if there's anyone holding the backside stairs, but nothing will come of it. A wall will be used to make sure that this top side of B tower will stay safe, and here comes the execute.
And this is going to be another free plant. I mean, Sentinels a few times now on both maps that we've seen so far. Sometimes you just get on site and no one's really going to be home here. I do believe Dignitas might want to ult this one, and that's going to be good for Sentinels who, on a round that they're not expected to win, are going to force out ultimates. Getting this resource out is going to be important. Lockdown coming through, and now this is where Dignitas think about whether the lockdown's going to be in. It's been destroyed, and probably now the Rolling Thunder has to be played.
How do you let that happen again if you're Dig? This is a big opportunity. Sentinels, they've killed a lot of time on this potential read. They're seeing a number of members in the back, and the Stinger is good range. So is the Frenzy. They're not trying to flip through! Oh my goodness, Sentinels! Not only do they get out of the eco, not only do they get plant down, but it's flawless, and they take out a lockdown with it.
It's 2 rifles, and Zombs doesn't even have full armor walking into that round. They had a Ghost, a Stinger, and a Frenzy, and they completely dismantled Dignitas' chances of coming into a retake. MAKKA dies on the retake opportunity as well, so no Rolling Thunder gets to be played. The lockdown, like you mentioned, is destroyed. Sentinels get a free plant over towards B. We've talked plenty about the fact that if Sentinels have all 5 alive in a post plant, it's tough. I mean, Dignitas did quite a lot there to dismantle that one. And for Sentinels, they're going to win a round that they were not favored to win, and that is going to be a big momentum shift.
Starting to feel a little bit like deja vu here again in map number 2. Sentinels winning rounds that they've got no business winning. They're starting to drain out the resources of Dig, and there's potential with this opening kill now onto Psalm for maybe a 5th round here. Showstopper going to come through. Zom's another kill in front of him. It's a Sinatraa making his play up top. Throws it just behind Oderus, but the kill is still there regardless. dephh and Oderus will at least find a couple of kills to keep things relatively even, but the problem here is that dephh has an operator for this retake. Rolling Thunder is going to be committed. A bit puzzling. dapr stays alive through it. Zom's able to find one. It's just down to MAKKA. 1v2 situation. He deals with the spike carrier. Now all the paranoia is going to come out, but MAKKA cannot get back to safety, and Sentinels again take a round, and looking at 6-5 going into the last round of the half.
Personally, for me, I don't mind the Rolling Thunder coming into play. The Dignitas know that they have to do something a little bit more to bring this round back up, and they tried to isolate dapr. They tried to prevent the spike from being picked up. There was a decent effort from Dignitas, considering they managed to drop the spike on the floor over towards B Heaven. couldn't quite hold on to numbers or control MAKKA off the last one alive. Gets flash in a 1v2. Can't quite win it. Dignitas are slowly letting this one slip away. Now, they can still get 7 and 5, but I think Sentinels might even be favored for the 6 and 6.
Boombot value for Sinatraa again. Able to get away. Boombot in response nearly connects, but not able to fully get any damage done. So now you're looking at the rest of this round to pan out in what could actually be a 6v4 because you have a resurrection available. ShahZam finds another pick. That's a baby tag, nowhere for him to go. Fortunate he even finds one kill. But the resurrection is going to be there right again. So now 5v2 and Sentinels are looking to tie this half up.
And this is the exact definition of Sentinels taking eating it too. They get killed through the smoke over towards mid. Raze comes into play. They destroy the boom bot. They get supamen down. Does this even count as a flawless? I don't know. If Sentinels have 5 alive, they technically did lose one. And so the game decides it's not going to be a flawless, but I mean, it's 5 alive. Sentinels 6 and 6 here. And I believe we're at a point where it was 6 and 3, Alan. And we thought, okay, Dignitas, we could have had that.
Well, we're going to take just a small pause while we fix some audio things on our side. We'll be back in just a small moment. The players will pause the game. We'll be bumping back into the second half of Split in just 1 second. Don't go anywhere. let me know. Okay, well, welcome back, everybody. Hopefully we've solved our problems and resolved everything causing us issues as we try to jump back into the second half. And you take a look at just those final 3 rounds on the scoreboard right there for Sentinels.
Yeah.
An incredible bounce back round that they win in a light buy, and they string together round 11, round 12. Sentinels are right back in this game, and they're going to their favored side. 76% win rate defensively back in the Ignition Series era.
And speaking of resolving issues here, I mean, we look at Sentinels early on. Let's talk about those first 9 rounds. I mean, at 6-3 at that point, you're thinking Dignitas should surely be able to lock this one in. And now resolving issues for Dignitas are going to need to be the ones cleaning their act up, walking onto their offense. This is still where they can get a lot done. Plenty of flashes on their team. I think it's going to be great for the attacking side. But like you said, Sentinels very favored on the defense as well. Especially for a play like Sick on the Sage. This is where the Sage can get a lot more value. Attacking Sage, the wall just melts instantly. It's not quite as decent. You can argue that defensive-wise, there are issues there. But so far, Sentinels have been getting away with still forcing the Sage. And I will use the term forcing in this current meta. And Sentinels kind of just getting away with so much. It's basically how I would summarize it for first half, where, I mean, there are just so many rounds where it just looks like Sentinels don't really have business winning it, and then they do. I mean, the half in general, you could say, was kind of Dignitas favored for some time, and then Sentinels, they pull it in.
I mean, take a look at him. We talked about dephh. He was essentially triple negative in our first map. He's now 12-9. So things for both sides that we can pull positives from so far. But at the end of it, it literally is a 50-50 tug of war. I mean, even in the fact that you saw 2 rounds in a row, 3 rounds in a row the other way, 4 rounds in a row, and then 3 rounds back. It's very kind of a streaky opening first half for us. We'll see if the second half will provide much of the same or maybe something different here, as Sentinels defensively will spread the map and really just essentially stack over towards A more than anything else. And similar circumstances here for Dignitas. Still a pretty even spread. Spike will be left in sewers, so they're going to be hunting for information here early.
Because they don't have a Cypher, by the way, it ends up being the Omen smoke from Super that has to cover the tracks for Dignitas on A. Oderus going to be jumping across towards ramps as well. 3 committed on the defense there for Sentinels. They are going to slowly think about moving plays away, but Sig has confirmed at least 1 member over towards ramps.
And the early wall will be placed to block off the ropes room for a rotation up to tower. No more slow orbs potentially to be used either. So Dignitas, if they try to hit, it'll have to be pretty hot-handed through just the low ground or up through a ramp. So the rotation defensively actually might be more caught off guard by this than the actual offensive hit, simply because that wall is placed in a spot that will stop Sentinels from rotating through mid.
The other problem is Sentinels putting the wall up also means they acknowledge they don't have control over mid. You see the Sentinels over towards B Heaven. They don't know what's happening in mid right now. That's going to allow Dignitas to walk onto A mostly for free. The U-tool's been confirmed, and now Sentinels will try and get the rotation.
Left. Spikes down.
Supamen will find first kill. Zombs, though, on his own in the back of the site, takes down 2, and Sinatraa cleans things up in the connector for a 3rd. So numbers now for Sentinels. Sinatraa doesn't really get the paint shells he was looking for. Wanted to bounce that into the back hallway, but kind of took a wonky bounce off and stayed too close. But still with that dapr for 1. Right clicks for Oderus are good on the first. That's an individual 1v1 he's been able to take. Trapwire comes through, deals with that. The shots are good. Now a 1v1. Spike, about to get to halfway. Paint shells, nice bounce coming through. Not going to fully connect, though. Halfway coming out, trying to snap on over. Oderus down to 13 HP, and Sick will catch the angle. Plenty of time to finesse, and he will win the gunfight and take the pistol for Sentinels.
The problem there for Sentinels is they nearly gave that one away to Dignitas. I mean, dapr goes for a fight there. Sure, you can say that Oderus was one that went for the swing, but this is when Sick is still going for the defuse, so it ends up being a 1v1 instead of a 1v2.
Yeah.
And Oderus nearly wins the second 1v1 against Sick as well, but it comes down to, in my opinion, zombs getting the early kills and a bit of a deja vu from what we saw onto Heaven, that first pistol round, where Dignitas gets a very early rotation on towards the A point of that, the A side of that map, and gets a couple of players down. Zombs by himself just returns to, and once again, the solo anchor, when he's the last one alive, will just get a couple of kills, and that couple of kills gives Sentinels the chance they need.
Spike once again left down towards sewer. As Dignitas try to posture this time to the middle of the map, and there are Sentinels members here to deal with it. Sinatraa first blood. Oderus tagged up heavily. Secondary peek also unsuccessful. Nice shots from dapr for one and a second. Okay, 3v3. 70 HP, gonna get an opportunity for one more. Flashpoint, brilliantly placed. That's gonna be a couple of weapon upgrades. And Dignitas and the Eco are looking really solid as they've taken over B tower and can probably just drop down freely to B, as zombs is gonna have to wait for help before he can commit.
Talk plenty about zombs in these kind of situations. He'll now need to really bring the goods in. And like I said, needs to wait for at least a little bit of help coming through from heaven. There it is, ShahZam, help in hand. Sam goes down. And for Dignitas as well, consider that dephh is on low HP. Consider that MAKKA has been tagged up as well. This is still doable for either side.
Oh, brilliant shots from ShahZam, but he's taken down to 6 HP. But Zombs from the pinch. MAKKA couldn't even get a shot off. And Sentinels still hold on. And they'll forfeit the back half of this defuse to ShahZam, who will just be 2 orbs off, or 2 kills off, from grabbing his early Blade Storm.
Nearly let it slip again. I mean, consider that Sentinels did lose a few members early, but ShahZam coming through heaven. If he doesn't win the initial 1v1, if he doesn't get a couple of kills here to really help out Zombs, that would have been a very different situation if Zom goes down before ShahZam can really arrive on scene. Again, that would have been a really difficult retake for Sentinels, but between the two of them, keep it alive, they keep it in play. For Sentinels now, 5 rounds in a row if you consider the last 3 from the previous half as well. This is the important one though. Dignitas going to buy in, and this is the one that Dignitas want to win.
8-6 VR. Dignitas need to start getting things going offensively, and sinatraa might just walk right behind MAKKA. He's got no idea. Oh, that's really tough. And now it's a Vandal instead of a Spectre. He sees the spike. So much information right here for sinatraa.
Oh,
and he
my
finds
God.
shots through the dark cover. Hello? He's got Psalm close by, but there will be the trade. You still have members that are playing aggressive in the middle of the map. dapr is here. He'll find one, sick another. We've got ourselves a 2v1 favoring Sentinels with more information that the spike has been dropped.
Yep, this is going to be tough now. Oderus is on the other side of the map. It's been walled off. He's going to walk into sewers. He'll see the wall come through, and he's going to play the time of it. He's got to wait for it to melt, and then somehow still have to navigate his way around 2 members, get a plant down, win the post-plant situation. You better believe this is going to be a super difficult situation, and spam through the smoke. 21 HP. It's not going to happen. Sick will be able to clean up the last kill there, and a couple of free rifles for Sentinels, and this is getting out of hand now. Sentinels on this defense are absolutely insane, and Dignitas failed to win their gun round. They give away their weapons, and they're going to have to eco.
Everything going wrong right now for Dignitas. They are going to have to be on something special for the rest of this first part of the second half. Third quarter, if you will, I suppose. And it's going to come down to 4 Sheriffs and a Spectre here for the 4th round in. The only bit of good news is the fact that they have gotten a couple of spikes planted, so they're not in a terrible position with their economy. You've got 2K plus really for everybody, but as we start to dig through this next round, Dignitas will have to find a way to at least make this a punishing round, as they cannot allow Sentinels' economy to start to snowball. So,
yeah,
as they start to come through, Avril, I think you're still with me to come back in, yeah?
Yeah. We see the situation now. Sentinels have Showstopper available as well. Sinatra's been doing super well. Just trying to find any opening they can. Wall is melted over towards A, or rather towards mid. Over towards A is going to be Sam, actually. He'll be trying to fire things up. Maybe bring a little bit of attention to false rotators towards him. Dignitas want to make a play happen over towards B. Let's see if they can do it.
dapr, first one up. Oh, and he actually looks up, and dephh will find a free kill. Now it's down to 6. He can't find anything. dephh for 2 1-taps. Sinatra's down to 5 HP. Oh boy.
Spike planted.
And now dephh with a weapon. Not what you want. Alarm bot will go down. Nanostorm up top by the ropes, and Dignitas, they might just be able to walk away with a flawless eco around his Sentinels.
Wow.
Are not going to have a chance to come through. Unbelievable from Dig.
This is happening again. This is what we saw on Haven, where Dig managed to get a lot of Sheriff kills. It's insane. Dignitas now 4 versus 1. They have 2 ultimates that they could use if they really want to. They're not going to have to. Sentinels, surely Zombs is not going to be able to walk into this one safely at all. We'll try and keep this Vandal alive. And Dignitas off the back of death. Yeah, we'll get MAKKA. That's a bit of tax there for Zombs. And I mean, look, you can make the argument. I did mention as well, Zombs has been able to get a couple of kills, even facing it up against a lot of pressure on the defensive side of things. If Zombs was on B, maybe he gets the kills required, but For the side of Sentinels, they lose two very, very quickly. dephh, a couple of headshot connections on the Sheriff, walks through, picks up a rifle, walks into B alley as well, cleans up a third kill, and Dignitas are just on a roll on the Sheriff somehow. That's a great run for them, and one they sorely needed to stay competitive on this map.
And for Sentinels, you just think, who cares about the utility coming through? Just play for the kills. The last thing you can allow them to do is to get onto site 3. dephh does him one better. He's 18 and 12 now. Talk about a huge bounce back. Again, he was 7 and 21 in the first map. 18 and 12 here in the second. Incredible regain from him. ShahZam now on the Bladestorm. He's actually to take down Oderus and immediately back away as, again, contesting it was dephh, but the first blood well appreciated here for Sentinels.
Solo vault to play through. That is a really unfortunate miss from ShahZam. The right click is going to go completely wide. And dephh is just padding the stats. Currently top of the leaderboard for the Dignitas side of things. I believe that's 19 kills now. Nearly dropping the 20. Not common on a Killjoy. It's Dignitas. 4v4. And by the way, that one kill over towards Sentinels where ShahZam went down. I don't know that Sick can res that one either. It's a little bit too aggressive. He'll have to try and do that one on a retake, and a retake is what it's going to come down to unless zombs can work some magic again.
Don't rule him out. Opportunity. Coming through the dark cover are multiple members. He's able to stay alive through the flashpoint. And this is possible. Almost gets the lineup. The lockdown would have been potential to be taken away as well, but now Sinatraa will have to back out. Dignitas will get the plant down, but there's a resurrection available, which could potentially come through onto Zom sitting back screens. You also have a showstopper. So are you able to get into a position to utilize this in your Sentinels? Here comes the play through the back. It's going to be Sinatraa up top. There's the resurrection. Sinatraa trying to clear up some space. Long range bomb. Not going to find anything. Been able to find one, but Sinatraa for 2. Rolling Thunder coming out. But there's the paint shells. That's going to stop the push through. And it gets an elimination. Sentinels, they break through way too easily. They get the defuse, and now they're up 10-7.
And this is what I'm talking about here. Sentinels just get to roll onto the site on this retake. The smoke covers the resurrection on towards Zombs. He ends up being the one of the last 2 members surviving there as well. And Sinatraa completely outplays MAKKA off there. Gets the initial pick over towards ramps. Rolling Thunder in response, and the paint shells perfectly landing straight onto MAKKA's face. Dignitas is going to feel cheated on that round. That should have been a round where Dignitas felt very confident about their chances walking in. Early plant as well. Great post-plant setup in general. Sentinels, though, just making sure they confirm a nice lead. 3 rounds still ahead as they get double digits here. And for Dignitas, they are definitely sweating. Again, this is 1 map down. Dignitas need to win split to go to bind.
Flawless execution for Sentinels, though. You double commit to get the res, you clear out space with the showstopper, and then from there, you just let Sinatraa do his own thing. So a must-win round, you feel like, here for Dig. You lose this one, money will not be great. At least not for everybody. And they're going to have supamen just lurk over through mid while everybody else stacks towards B main. There is a camera aggressively placed in garage here for dapr. And he's active with this. He's going to find information on one player, holding it open, just going to give pings. Does he see more is the real question. And so far, this will not be enough information to allow him to make the call that, yes, we need more defensive members. And fortunately, you do get dephh to take care of the cam as they try to set up for an execute.
Here we go. Cage is in now as well. See if they can hold on to this one. Oderus needs to find something. The showstopper. They get killed through the cages. This is going really poorly for Dignitas currently. Sentinels 3 and 3.
30 seconds
will still
left.
be a heal available. I believe it does go on to Sick himself. And now, can they stop the plant? They won't be up to it, but dephh is down. Top fragger so far for Dignitas out of action. And Dig are stuck on site. They cannot get off.
Sick, though. Fault lined up. Dark cover will save his life for now. Supamen, though, equal to the task. Zombs for a 1v2. Has information on one player. There's the kill. Now a 1v1. Him versus MAKKA. Out in the dark cover. Zombs wins it! And Sentinels, they're going to be up 11-7, and Dignitas, I don't know what they're going to be able to afford coming into the next round.
It's 20 situations where Sentinels, they're on site as Dignitas start to roll them through. They're getting kills through smoke, they're getting kills through cages as well. Sentinels then on the rest of the retake. Zombs has been so clutch in these situations. Consider how many late round wins due to the fact that zombs is still alive, he's doing a lot on that retake. I mean, considering retakes here, look at this round summary. In this half, it's 4 defuses, so it's not like Dignitas haven't been able to plant. It's the fact that they plant, but Dignitas on the retake have been so successful.
Yeah, the post-plant setups have just been not what you want to see, and maybe you attribute some of that to, again, the lack of experience in tournament play on split. Sentinels just look like they're able to decimate through and kind of dissolve these post-plant setups, if you want to call them that, a little bit too easily. But this time, I guess, you know, the money's not great for Dig, but it's still actually not great for Sentinels either. So we've got essentially an even round coming out. And with the potential of an Empress, there's an opportunity here for Dig to try to bounce back into this late stage of the second half.
Yeah, but they do need to give Sam the actual gun. Sam's only working on a Stinger right now. If they want to use the Empress properly, they kind of have to drop a gun over. They have to swap between MAKKA, Supamen, Oderus. One of those 3 players has to drop the rifle and swap themselves over to the Stinger. Early wall coming through from Sig, by the way, on towards A. That means they want to go for an early rotation. sinatraa sensing blood in the water right now. Paint shells are gonna miss. He needs to get a kill. He can't do so. And 2 quick ones for Dig.
Spike planted.
And now you really don't even need to use the Empress. You're in a 5v3. Sentinels do have ShahZam up top to open up an opportunity if they want to go for a retake, but as you look at the minimap, it's not going to be a commitment. Again, we talked about the fact that, yes, this half has been going better for Sentinels, but with all the plants that have come through, there has just not been a lot of cash for Sentinels. And now as ShahZam falls to death, this is actually a big bounce back moment for Dig. It was a must-win round, and they do it flawlessly with the plant and not having to spend the Empress. This was a perfect storm here in round 8, or number 19 for Dignitas.
Yeah, Sam and dephh, by the way, walked into this round with only SMGs. They get free rifles now. dephh even wins the 1v1 that we saw versus ShahZam, I believe, over towards mid. So they're definitely being able to walk quite comfortably into this round. This is a very important round in terms of momentum, confidence, everything, all of the above here, because for Dignitas, they've lost plenty of rounds in this half on this map where they felt like they were probably ahead. They felt like they had a good chance to win. The Sentinels are able to just kind of edge them through. And that would have looked like, look, if Dignitas walk on to B again and Sentinels, someone like sinatraa holding the close angle, well, at least tucked into default plant, he gets a couple of kills. That would have been another situation with Sentinels. It doesn't really matter. Look, they might be in a really rough spot, holding anchor on towards B. Dignitas rush in, and somehow Sentinels get a bunch of kills. This time it doesn't happen, and that's when Dignitas get a hit.
Opportunity for a 9th round, potentially for Dignitas. Psalm is going to get aggressive. Spike will be left just outside the ropes towards sewer, over towards A main. And there are members that are mid-map that are likely to be able to rotate behind and pick this up if they feel the favor going towards the A site. Similarly so, though, if these members for Dig find some information and good utility up the middle of the map, you could track back, pick the spike up, and then meet these players in mid. So it just comes down to which decision do you want to make. If you're Dig and zombs, mid-range, headshot to Psalm, no Empress potential now for Dig.
And this would have been a great round for Empress as well. It's one that Sentinels could potentially get 12 on. Possible 1v1 here. Does get one by Oderus. So bring one back through. No resurrection yet to be in place. Sick is too far away from it. Now going to wall off B as well. It's going to allow them to safely rotate over, and they're going to need the numbers.
Zombs gets some damage, but he actually doesn't confirm a kill. So now he has to retreat back into the safety, or at least you would think the safety of the site itself. But that's a one-dimensional angle that does get punished. Dignitas in a 4v3, but 2 members severely injured. And Sentinels are not going to be hard-pressed as far as the journey needed to be taken to get onto the site for a retake. Sick, up top, not going to be expected. Finds the first. Dig is essentially trapped. And again, what is the post-plant setup? It's just not convincing at all. All of these kills come through on individual gunfights. That cannot happen if you're Dignitas. Once again, a post-plant setup going awry, and Sentinels, they will get the easy defuse.
Yep, and Dignitas just can't quite find the kills. They're the last 2 players alive with Dig. Even when it was a 4v3, they lose 2 in that 4v3. Down to the last 2 players. Those are the low players on minimal HP. So for Sentinels, it ends up being a fairly easy cleanup. I mean, Sentinels walk into this one. They really shouldn't be able to win that round in that situation. I mean, you can't really count them out considering how many defusers they have, considering how many situations they've gotten the successful retake. But yeah, I kind of agree there. Dignitas in these post-plants just have not found the success. Even if they have a player advantage, even if they get at least 1 member off-site there, they're still stacking probably a little too many members on-site. They can't quite get the counter trades. And it's just a bit of a farce. I mean, it's 4v3, and the 4 alive for Dignitas can't even get 1.
Look, for me now, you look at this next round coming through, and Dignitas, you essentially have to hold this lockdown for after you get the spike down. That has to be your post-plant success, because there has been very little instances where they have found successful post-plant situations. I want to say the only 2 times the spike has gone off are 2 rounds that Sentinels have saved. So I think for my mind, you have to save this lockdown just for the post-plant. So now for Dignitas, how do you open up sites? Because you've got the Empress to be potentially used. Spike is still lingering outside mid-market, lingering towards B, but this is just a little bit too tense for Dig. You would love to use this lockdown to open up rather than save a post-plant.
And just by the way as well, you look at the round summary there, it's 7 out of 8 total rounds in this half. Dignitas have been able to plant. But only 2 times has that led to a detonation. Like you said, it comes down to the fact that Dignitas have overwhelming numbers advantages. I'm not talking about 4-3. I'm talking about Zombs being the only one alive 1v4. So he goes for a save. Here we go. The Empress will be popping out. Sinatraa paint shells out and ready. Be in a position to stop this one.
Beautiful little right click, underhand shot. Slow orb going to be placed down. Sinatraa, he wants to push forward. He wants to try to find an elimination, but Dignitas have bailed away. The problem here is the fact that on the long rotation through spawn is the Empress, so this is likely going to expire. Everything is got to be down to MAKKA and dephh. And if dephh falls, there's no lockdown. He's fortunate to find the first kill. Lockdown will immediately be caught, but this is still really early, and Sentinels are going to be able to take this time to get Sinatraa back over to potentially play for a retake. But they do catch out a couple of kills immediately, and I don't know, Sentinels, I think you just needed to wait for numbers here. It's going to be just down to Sinatraa in a 1v4, and I just don't know if you really play for this.
They get a very early kill. dephh doesn't need to challenge that one, so he'll give his life over to make the 1v3 possible. Can it happen? I mean, Sinatraa is a player that can certainly do it. The problem here is also that MAKKA holds on to a Rolling Thunder, making things a little bit more difficult for Sentinels to be able to go for a proper 1v3. And this is part of the issue, by the way, for Dignitas, why some of the postmans don't go well. You really have to get MAKKA off-site. This ends up being a round that's inconsequential because it's a 3v1, but consider if Sentinels had more numbers there. MAKKA is so deep on-site, how is he supposed to use a Rolling Thunder properly? If he gets off-site, then Rolling Thunder's back in, like he does in a previous round that we did see, that's a much better situation. Yes, it was Sinatraa outplaying MAKKA in that situation as well, where MAKKA tries to come with the Rolling Thunder. We all remember it, dies to the paint shells in a hilarious fashion, but I think the Dignitas have to work on stuff like that. Really comes down to dephh for that particular round. dephh wins the 1v1 over from elbow. He puts the lockdown into play as well. Gets another kill, stays alive for the most part, delivers himself over to Sinatraa, but the 3v1 is still too overwhelming.
5-man stack for Dignitas over towards A. A lot of utility being thrown in. Sick gets caught. I don't know. It seems a bit questionable to try to commit right here. And how about this? There's going to be a Rolling Thunder to try to open space up. ShahZam does fall topside A tower. Player on this site, after he will fall. dephh for a 3rd kill in the round. And with that, also potential for the spike plant. That will lead to almost another lockdown in what was, 2 rounds ago he used it. So
yeah,
good value here for Dignitas as they'll likely convert their 10th round.
It was just the last one, actually, that dephh put the lockdown in place. Sinatraa has a rifle alive. We'll look to try and save this one if possible. But he's in between a lot of Dignitas members right now that can at least somewhat afford to chase him down. Sentinels are going to have to eco after this one. Dignitas can actually pick up 11. We could go to overtime again. It will require Dignitas to play perfectly for the following 3 rounds. And Sentinels, their chance to maybe still confirm 13 relies upon Sinatraa getting out alive for at least 1 hero rifle in the next round.
He's actually moving quickly right into the line of sight of Oderus. So Sinatraa, you saw for a moment there, bottom right, he only had 500 credits left in capital D colon right there. Oderus with the insulting paint shells at the end. But yeah, this is going to have to be a light buy coming through for Sentinels. So potential and expectations would lead towards an 11th round here for Dig, but those expectations might have to be stilted just for a moment because there is a resurrection, there is a blade storm, so there is potential for Sentinels to still fight this round back, even though they're running eco.
Speaking of resurrection, by the way, Sick dying very early last round means that there's no resurrection opportunity. He was actually 6 out of 7, but you assume there's a chance to maybe get an orb or a counter trade to then get the rest in. That's how Sentinels have been winning some of these retakes as well. It's going to come down to ShahZam, I think, the critical member here to keep things alive via Blaze Storm. dapr down to 8 HP, needs a heal. You can see that 6 on his way over for this heal. So Sentinels are going to try and keep this alive in terms of the eco plays. They will need to try and isolate a kill somewhere, though, on minimal weapons.
Pretty dead silence falls over. Split here in the mid-round. Minute 5 to play here in the round overall. A lot of energy thrown over towards the middle of the map here for Dignitas.
Cover going out.
Stack for Sentinels defensively is towards the backside of the B tower stairs. And it looks like actually dapr is going to maybe climb the ropes and join them up top. And for Dig, they look like they are primed to try to hit over towards B. They've got a potential post plant set up closer towards B main, maybe. But it's going to be down to how cleanly can you take this execute.
You should run.
Sentinels have kind of stacked this one. The lockdown gets played in, so very safe from Dignitas. I want to take a lot of chances here. This is going to allow Sentinels a bit of time to get the rotation. And Paint Shells is huge. Oh my god, the damage is definitely there for Sinatraa. It's a 1-for-1 trade. And
not to mention the fact that the Killjoy ultimate will be shut down. Nice shots here for Oderus as he's able to find himself an elimination. Still a 3v2 situation in favor of Dig, but Sentinels, there's no reason to not go for this, so you likely see that this is going to be a pinch play coming out. Couple of pings trying to see if zombs can find an opening pick. Paranoia comes through. Showstop also going to be committed. Doesn't find it a kill, but at least flushes zombs out into the line of sight of Storm. Just down to Sinatraa, no kills there, but I think you're okay with that for Sentinels. Yep. You get rid of 2 ultimates here into what will be the final round that you need to try to secure, and there's no tools outside of the weaponry coming forward for Dignitas trying to send this to overtime.
Yeah, it's huge. I mean, you get 2 kills, you don't pick up any guns, but the 2 ultimates I think are really big as well. The fact that the lockdown gets played in, it's maybe overly conservative from Dignitas. I mean, dephh doesn't need to use the lockdown versus an eco there. In fact, the lockdown actually gives Sentinel early warning. That's why you see the slow orb coming. That's why you see the paint shells as well. Dignitas might have been able to just pull through a sneaky one if they rush on towards B at the time that they did, but no lockdown in play, and now without the ultimates, things are going to look a little bit more rough, especially that they lose dephh quite early, and by the way, the damage onto ShahZam, it's going to get dealed up.
Again, is this a wild card play that one of the first times it's in the operative been pulled out here on Split? It's already going to be made aware for Dig. Although they do still lose one member outside of B main, you at least know that Sentinels have an op over towards A, so you probably aren't going to see them try to hit that site anytime soon. ShahZam has rotated closer towards A tower, which will allow him to rotate maybe over the middle of the map a little bit quicker, but still the fact of the matter is that this is fine if you're Dig. You would love to have a 5th member up, but at worst, you're dealing with a 4v4 over towards B as you figured that ShahZam will likely be holding the operator still at A throughout the round.
Dignitas need to be exploring options here. Paint shells are going to come through. dapr will even save his Tramp Wife from being destroyed there. So nice little micro play as Sentinels might want to start considering shifting members over. Dignitas are very much now committed over towards the site. It's going to come down to Sick. Sick needs to stay alive because he's got a resurrection.
Unimportant.
Double slow orbs. That's actually a really good fault line to come
left.
through, giving Supamen a chance to battle up, even though he was completely hindered by the orbs. Oderus hearing footsteps right above him. Gonna take a couple of pings. Resurrection's gonna come through for Sick. That's gonna be safe. No way to try to negate that. So 4v4 we stay. ShahZam up top watching Sick drop to the low ground. Also Boom up to clear some space. Sinatraa with the operator for 1. Immediately channeled back, but Sick will find a follow-up kill. It's down to a 3v2. Dignitas keeping things even. Can they hold? They need a post plant set up to hold strong. But Sinatraa with a double. Just down to the 1v2. Paint shells, showstopper, both gonna come through, and the shot will not connect! Supamen 1v1, but Sick able to win the battle, and Sentinels will take the 2-0, no overtime needed here. Dignitas will fall to the elimination match here in Group C.
Defenders win.
And ironically as well, Dignitas end up losing the fashion that we've been criticizing this entire half, which is to say, no issues planting for Dignitas so far, but in the post plants, they've not been successful. You can, on the opposite end as well, really compliment Sentinels on the retakes. So many successful retakes there. Sure, some of them did go awry, but for the most part, Sentinels coming out ahead there, keeping things very competitive. That first half really tells you a lot as well. 6-6. As a reminder, we started out 6.